Hey guys, welcome back to AFK Journey. In today's video, Nara is finally out on the global server, so I wanted to go through whether I think she is worth pulling. The different things we're going to look at is going to be Dream Realm, AFK stages, and PvP as always, and also how much investment you want to put into her, or whether you should just be skipping her altogether. Now, I'm going to TLDR it at the start. I think for free-to-play players, she is a pretty safe skip. If you want one tech copy for the usage that she does have, I've showed it in my previous video. I'll show it again here in a minute, but she does have some pretty good synergies with things like Lily May and stuff like that. But in general, I think she is more of a luxury unit than one of those must-pull units. She's not on the levels of the Lily Mays, and because most free-to-play players, if you've been playing around global, you probably dumped everything into Lily May, and you're at the stage now where you can afford to just save a bit and wait for the next hero. Now, do keep in mind that we will get one hero swap along the way. Due to the quests that we have here, it looks like one, I'm not sure, there may be a second one that comes from another source, but we do have the one S level and one A level hero swap. So if you do decide to pull Nara, take it to Supreme Plus or wherever, you will be able to swap her later in the season. So if that's a risk you want to take, that, you know, maybe you want to get her now and swap for another one, and you're going to be cool with that. I personally am not going to do it because I'd rather get a hero that I think is going to be impactful for my account than swap them to the next one if there's another level of power creep towards the end of the season. That's the way I'm using it, but just note, we do have that leniency of having a hero swap that we can use if you do go ahead and pull Nara now and you want to do that. Now, let's go through her functionality. And this is something I want to talk about because in general, when we look at the game, when we look at pulling a character, especially, and keep in mind, I look at this more from a free-to-play light spending perspective. If you're a whale, like, obviously do what you want. If you just love the look of Nara, go ahead and pull her. If she's your favorite character, go nuts, because once again, we do have that leniency of if you pull her because you like her and then you see someone else you like more later on, someone's like completely broken in the meta, that's where you can go ahead and use that swap ticket for that. But I do like the swap ticket for that leniency it provides. But when we look to the areas you can use a character, AFK stages at the start of the season are very important. However, towards the end of the season, they really fall off. We saw at the end of the last season, the rewards you got for excessively pushing AFK stages weren't that great, and the incentive to push AFK stages towards the end of the season really falls off. Early season, it's very important because you want to be getting as much experience and stuff like that so you can level up faster and compete harder. Dream Realm is the main place that I feel like really matters because the disproportionate scaling of the rewards you get in this compared to anywhere else for the longevity of the term. So when I look to pulling a character, the heaviest weight I put in is the Dream Realm. I'd say like Dream Realm has like a 70% weighting. Unless they can adjust the temporal essence issues, Dream Realm is always going to be the #1 thing, especially for free-to-play players that you look to, because you really need to keep up that that income. And then Arena is a much smaller portion of the pie when we look to it, but once again, it does depend what you enjoy and what you're looking for. I just wanted to make it clear on where the sort of emphasis of the game is still pointing, and that is to Dream Realm. And unfortunately for Nara in Dream Realm, she doesn't really work. When we tested her on the Pioneer server, because to get her big damage, if we go ahead and take a look at her, to get her big damage on her ultimate, the enemy has to be below 50% health. Now, yes, in the current state of the game where we're at, where we're progressing through, you will hit stages where you will have the bosses below 50% health, and you will be able to use that execute. The problem is the damage that she ramps up towards the second half of that boss doesn't really warrant it for me, and once we get to the endless mode, we've seen with things like Vala, whereas if Vala in the endless mode could go straight into sword form, she'd be an absolute monster, but we can assume that Nara is going to be the same. Now, if that does change, I will let you guys know. But in general, I think her bossing capabilities, due to the fact that she won't get her massive damage, she's a control-based unit, and often when you're a control-based unit, you are letting up on some of the damage amplification type factors of it. But once again, she does have her big ultimate, which is fantastic for low health bosses. So in things when we look to like Primal Lords when they open up, if you get a Primal Lord below 50% and you pull the Nara, I'd be testing it out because I do think she could have some really good damage capabilities, because when the Primal Lord's below 50% health, she can deal some massive damage. But as for general Dream Realm, we didn't see anything big from her maxed out in the Pioneer server, so I don't think she's really going to have that much functionality in bossing at this stage. Once again, that could be adjusted, but at the moment, we haven't seen anything crazy. Now, as for her other placements, now I think she's going to have an awkward time in Arena just due to the fact that Dunlinger is coming out very, very soon after her. And Dunlinger is that unit that can block ultimates. Now, if you're on a more free-to-play server, then maybe Nara comes in. I think for her her PvP viability, It's really going to depend on where your server is at, what your enemies have, like the enemies around your ranking, and what kind of ranking you're trying to push. I feel like PvP is a place where she will really shine. The fact that she can grapple an enemy at the very start of the battle and lock them out and control them. Now, she's not going to be a defense unit, because she is too easy to counter with like a lightning spell and stuff like that. On defense, I think she's just going to be horrible, but she's more of an offense option on PvP. However, it is going to be specific situations in which you use her in PvP as well. She's not going to be just splashable like in your best team every time. She is going to be niche situations. But in the absolute max meta of the game, I think she is going to struggle, especially once people start using Dunlinger. But if you're in a more free-to-play server, maybe you can get some strong usage out of her in PvP. But once again, when we go back to that waiting thoughts of her, when we look at Dream Realm, AFK Stage, and Arena, Arena is the lowest priority for me at the moment in a new season. Dream Realm and AFK stages take priority. Now, as for her usage in but once again, I do think she will have some use for some people in Arena, and that's a silver lining if you do want to just pull the character because you really like her, and then you can swap her away later if you want to. But as we go into AFK stages, this is honestly where if you're going to pull a single copy of her, this is where I think you can get some really good tech usage. Now, my team is a bit scuffed at the moment because I've been the last stage was just a really tricky one, and she actually helped me get through that. But this is where you're going to get the best usage of her at a single copy. Now, on my account, and it also depends how developed your account is, because single copy characters have less value the more beefed up your account is. As you can see, I don't have a Mythic Plus Smokey, I don't have a Mythic Plus Iron, I don't have a well-built account over here on the test server. So, and the one unit that I have heavily built is Lily May. So abusing the power of my Lily May is what my focus is on this account. So being able to use Nara to grapple over the back row enemy and have my Lily May target that back row enemy, so we just basically nuke that back row enemy really fast. Obviously this stage is a bit different because I don't really need to target that back row enemy straight away. But when you've got tricky ones, for instance on the previous stage, it was a Huon in the back row, and being able to grab that Huon and nuke a Huon so that she only does her below 50% heal on herself, and she doesn't get to do that heal on anyone else on her team, is absolutely fantastic. So there are specific enemies depending on your team and where you are at, where a single copy of Nara will be fantastic. Now, obviously, if you put more dupes into her and get her to Mythic Plus, Supreme Plus, she will function a lot better in this role. But I don't think the investment that you have to put into her to get her to that point is worth the cost for what you get out of it for a niche character that isn't going to be splashable in every AFK stage team. She's not going to be functioning in Dream Realm, and yes, she will have some PvP usage, but that is my general thoughts around Nara. On the one copy. Like I said, you can go deeper into her and she will function better in those AFK stages, but her role is going to remain the same in AFK stages. Even if you beef her up, the difference is she will be landing more kills and she will be able to snowball harder, but she will still have that same role of locking out a troublesome enemy and then just, you know, basically snowballing from there. And I do think she will be really useful for some players depending on your account's progression, but over on my main account, you guys have seen that one several times, she's just not really going to slot into any of my main teams. And like I said, over there, I'm really focused on Dream Realm, trying to hold my top 10 position and climb in the rankings on my district as well. So that's what we're looking at here. The one thing I will note is that it is really nice that they made the adjustment over on the Pioneer server to get her big unlock, which is this one here, where she'll basically use her chain to grab any enemy below 40% around the map and then execute them. That was at level 4, which is plus 15, and they did change it back to level 3, which is plus 10, which is much better. I hope they continue this for all heroes, where they have it at plus 5 or plus 10 for the key unlock, but that did change, just in case that was something you were worried about from one of my previous videos where I showed it. They have adjusted that and put it into the level 3, which is a fantastic change. But once again, recapping, for free-to-play especially, I think Nara is a safe skip. One copy at most if you want the tech usage, but once again, I don't think you're going to get like the most insane amount of usage. For instance, one copy of Nara is not going to be as effective as pulling one copy of what's her face, of Mikola when she came out, because that one copy of Mikola was so impactful in bossing for free-to-play players, whereas Nara's not going to be as impactful as that at one copy if we're trying to look at the value you get out of them. But that would be my play at the moment. On my main account, I'm just completely skipping her, gonna wait. We know we've got heroes like, well, we don't know for sure, but we're anticipating we should have heroes like Hodgkin, Sonya coming out, and there are a few other heroes that we've seen along the way that hopefully may come come out as S levels, and if they do, that would be pretty impactful and pretty solid. So that is everything we're looking at. Let me know what you guys are going to do. Are you going to pull for Nara? And once again, it's still early days, so if any of this does change, I will update you guys. I just like to let you guys know my thoughts as the character comes out, because everyone wants to know your opinions, but things are always subject to change. Someone could find out some crazy strategies that we don't know about, and it can make the character more valuable. But if there is a reason that I think you really should pull Nara, I will make another video and let you guys know. But as always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.